Something important is quietly changing in the United States immigration system right now, and most people haven't heard about it yet. For millions of immigrants, visa holders, and even people waiting for their cases to be processed, 2026 is bringing a series of new updates that could affect travel, work permits, and immigration enforcement in ways that many are only beginning to understand. And the surprising part is that a lot of these changes are happening quietly through new policies, technology, and enforcement priorities rather than big announcements on the news. If you or someone in your family has anything to do with immigration in the United States, this is something you should definitely pay attention to. Imagine checking your immigration case one morning and suddenly seeing a faster update than expected, or hearing about someone who received a work permit sooner than usual, or even learning that immigration officers are using new technology to monitor certain processes. These kinds of changes are exactly what immigration experts have been talking about recently, and they're shaping how the entire system works in 2026. Before we dive deeper into what's actually happening, if you want to stay informed about immigration updates, policy changes, and important government announcements in the United States, make sure you subscribe to Global Entry News. Here on Global Entry News, Edward spends hours researching official updates, policy changes, and immigration news so viewers can understand what's really happening without having to read hundreds of pages of government documents. The goal is simple: help immigrants, families, and applicants stay informed and prepared for changes that could affect their future. One of the biggest shifts happening right now involves how immigration cases are being processed. Over the past few years, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, also known as USCIS, built up a massive backlog of applications. Millions of cases, including green card applications, asylum requests, and work permit renewals, were delayed for months or even years. But recently, immigration officials have started introducing new strategies designed to reduce those delays. One of the most important updates involves expanded use of digital processing systems. USCIS has been investing heavily in modernizing its systems so more applications can be submitted, reviewed, and processed electronically. Instead of relying on paper files moving slowly through offices, many applications are now handled through digital platforms that allow officers to review documents faster and communicate with applicants more efficiently. For many immigrants, this means processing times could begin to improve gradually throughout 2026. It doesn't mean every case will suddenly move quickly, but the goal is to reduce the enormous backlog that built up over the past several years. Another important update involves work authorization documents, commonly known as work permits. In previous years, thousands of immigrants experienced serious problems when their work permits expired while they were still waiting for renewals. This created situations where people legally allowed to work suddenly had to stop working simply because their renewal hadn't been processed yet. To address this issue, immigration authorities introduced policies that automatically extend certain work permits for longer periods while renewal applications are pending. In some cases, extensions can last hundreds of days, allowing applicants to continue working legally while their paperwork moves through the system. For many families who depend on these jobs, that change provides significant relief. Travel policies are also evolving. Many immigrants who are waiting for adjustments of status or other applications worry about leaving the United States because of potential complications when re-entering the country. Advanced parole travel documents allow some applicants to leave temporarily and return without abandoning their cases. Immigration attorneys have recently emphasized the importance of understanding the exact terms of these travel documents before making any plans to travel abroad. Another topic getting attention in immigration circles is the increased use of technology for case tracking and identity verification. Government agencies are expanding the use of biometric information, including fingerprints and photographs, to verify identities and monitor applications. While biometrics have been used for years, new systems are improving how quickly that information is processed and shared between agencies. At the same time, immigration enforcement strategies are also evolving. Federal agencies continue focusing enforcement efforts primarily on individuals who pose serious public safety threats or who have significant criminal records. However, immigration experts often remind applicants that enforcement priorities can shift depending on policy decisions and changes in government leadership. Because of this, immigration lawyers frequently advise immigrants to keep their documentation organized, remain aware of their legal status, and stay informed about current policies. Another issue many immigrants are watching closely involves humanitarian programs and temporary protections. Programs such as temporary protected status, humanitarian parole programs, and refugee processing have all been part of ongoing discussions in Washington. These programs can offer temporary legal status and work authorization for people from certain countries facing crises, but the rules and eligibility requirements can change depending on government decisions. At the same time, the United States continues processing a wide range of immigration pathways, including family-based immigration, employment-based visas, student visas, and humanitarian applications. Each pathway has its own requirements and waiting periods, which can sometimes make the system feel confusing for applicants. One thing immigration experts emphasize again and again is the importance of staying patient and keeping accurate records. Immigration applications often involve multiple steps, including submitting forms, attending biometric appointments, responding to requests for evidence, and sometimes attending interviews. Missing a deadline or failing to respond to a request can cause delays or complications. Another update many applicants appreciate involves improved online case tracking tools. USCIS has been gradually expanding its online systems so applicants can check case progress, upload documents, and receive notifications digitally. While the system isn't perfect, it has made it easier for many applicants to follow their case without relying entirely on mailed notices. For immigrants already living and working legally in the United States, these modernization efforts are intended to make the system more predictable and efficient over time. But immigration remains a complex process, and even small misunderstandings can create unnecessary stress. That's why immigration attorneys often encourage people to rely on official sources for information rather than rumors circulating on social media. Immigration law changes frequently, and misinformation can spread quickly online. One of the most powerful tools immigrants have is simply staying informed. Understanding how the system works, knowing what documents are required, and keeping track of deadlines can make a major difference in how smoothly an immigration process moves forward. At the same time, many immigrants contribute enormously to communities across the United States. They work in hospitals, businesses, construction, technology, education, and countless other fields. For many families, immigration isn't just about paperwork or policy debates. It's about building a future and creating opportunities for the next generation. Looking ahead through the rest of 2026, immigration experts expect continued efforts to reduce case backlogs, expand digital processing, and improve communication between agencies and applicants. While challenges remain, the overall goal of these changes is to create a system that functions more efficiently for both applicants and immigration officers. For anyone navigating the immigration system right now, the most important steps are staying informed, keeping documentation organized, and seeking reliable information whenever questions arise. Even small updates can have important effects, which is why following immigration news and policy changes can be extremely helpful. And that's exactly why Global Entry News exists. Edward and the team behind Global Entry News focus on bringing clear explanations of immigration updates, policy developments, and government announcements so viewers can understand what's really happening and what it might mean for their situation. Immigration rules will continue evolving, policies will continue changing, and new updates will continue appearing throughout the year. But when people stay informed and prepared, they are far better equipped to handle whatever changes come next. So if you want to keep learning about immigration updates, visa changes, government announcements, and important policy developments in the United States, make sure you subscribe to Global Entry News and stay connected with future updates from Edward. Because when it comes to immigration, the people who stay informed are always the ones who are best prepared for what comes next.